So the state of Hawaii loves celebrating its local celebrities. People like Iam Tongi, who's doing really well on American Idol right now, is someone that we are currently celebrating. I mean, you should have seen the party on the North Shore. They had this huge concert, parading around in a trolley as thousands of people waved signs. Plumeria flower petals pouring down from a helicopter. And to outsiders, the celebration may be a little over the top. I mean, he hasn't won yet, although he has brought national attention to Hawaii, even though him and his family moved to Washington State 3 years ago. Still, I think collectively, we think of him as a local here. And so as a state, we come together and celebrate that. And all this have got me thinking about, why does Hawaii love celebrating its winners or local celebrities? I mean, other places are also proud of the people who come from them, but in Hawaii, it just seems a little different. I also love as a state how we sort of collectively determine who is our own. Like, who do we embrace and who do we cheer on? Does that person have to be born in Hawaii, or can they have moved here and just done great things? So in this video, I want to dive more into this idea of Hawaii celebrating its own and why that's really important for a state as isolated like Hawaii. And if you're not from Hawaii, then maybe you'll learn a little bit more about Hawaii and its culture. And if you're from Hawaii, maybe it's something that you never thought about. But I do think that it's important to recognize what we do. And by the way, my favorite local celebrities are Guy Kawasaki, Neil Everett, and Jason Scott Lee. So the first reason why I think we love to celebrate our local celebrities so much is that oftentimes it's hard in traditional media to see someone who represents someone from Hawaii. I mean, I think it's very simple for some of the bigger categories like white, black, Hispanic, and even Asian. But how does someone who is Hawaiian, Chinese, white, and Filipino supposed to look on TV? So when I see locals like Auli'i Cravalo, who voiced Moana, even though I don't look like her, I still feel a lot more connected to her because we're both from Hawaii. There's this very special bond between local people. I talked about this before on what it means to be local, but when you're a local here in Hawaii, it's like this identifier that you carry with you wherever you go, even if you move away. And when you find another local, it creates this very special and unique bond and closeness, even if you have never met before. And I guess the best way to explain it would be like watching the Olympics. I think the Olympics are really special because as a country, we all come together and we cheer on these athletes. And America is fairly diverse in its athletes. And so even though the athlete may not look like us in that particular event, it doesn't matter because we both share that common identity of being Americans, and so we cheer for them. So when I see an athlete like Nathan Chen win the gold in men's figure skating, I'm not necessarily cheering for him because he's Asian and I'm Asian. Maybe somewhere deep down there's something like that, but I don't really think that's it. For me, when I see him, I'm cheering for him because he's a fellow American. And so I think on a more scaled down level, that's what happens with Hawaii people. So when we see someone who identifies as being from Hawaii, we have that special bond with them. And so when we see them online or on TV, we see a part of our collective self here in Hawaii, even if we don't necessarily look like them. The second reason I think we like to celebrate so much when Hawaii locals go off to accomplish great things is that for like a brief moment, the spotlight is on Hawaii. I know it's hard to believe for some people, but Hawaii is not the center of the universe. And I say that facetiously with an element of truth there, but it's not. People barely think about Hawaii other than a nice vacation spot. At least nationally and globally, Hawaii is not really on the radar as much as maybe some people tend to think. And so when someone from Hawaii does something that gains national attention, now all of a sudden Hawaii gets some recognition. And it's not related to tourism or volcanoes or these other things. It's someone from Hawaii is doing something great, and so we rally behind that. I mean, even something as simple as a quick shout out to Hawaii or people back in Hawaii, or even just throwing up a shaka, I mean, that means a lot. And whenever I see it on TV, I'm like, hey. And I think this comes from a deep-rooted sense of pride. from being from Hawaii. It's a very special and unique label. And I'm sure that there are some people who can go on and on about how special it is to be a local, to be considered from Hawaii. And that's not the point of this video, but just know that when you're from Hawaii, there's pride in that, because it means that you have a certain type of lifestyle. It means you share similar, not all the same, but just similar experiences and thoughts on just general life. And yes, the spotlight and the fame is fleeting, but every once in a while, it is pretty nice. And the third reason why I think we love celebrating our local celebrities is that Hawaii doesn't have a local professional team. And if you live in a place that does have a local professional team or teams, then maybe it's something you've never really thought about. But as a state, Hawaii doesn't have that. And so we don't really have a group or any real national presence that is somewhat regularly exposed to the rest of the country. I mean, at best, we have the local universities, primarily being the University of Hawaii. And I think in general, our love of UH sports is respectable. It's not super fanatical like some other places and their college football. People, of course, love UH football, but I think it's really the men's and women's volleyball that gets a lot of the attention, as well as the basketball teams whenever they happen to make the NCAA tournament. Because other than that, there's really not much for us to cheer for in terms of sports. So what is a state to do with no national sports teams? Well, what happens is we often cheer for teams where former locals play. So when Marcus Mariota was drafted and became a Tennessee Titan, there were a lot of Tennessee Titan fans. And when Shane Victorino played for the Philadelphia Phillies, there were a lot of Phillies fans here. Now, I've always thought it's very interesting how Hawaii collectively determines who they want to embrace or who they go out of their way to support. You know, do you have to be born in Hawaii? Do you have to graduate from high school here? Do you have to just live here for so many years and then we kind of claim you as our own? For example, I think about a celebrity like The Rock. He was living in Hawaii for a while, went to high school at McKinley High School, and then eventually moved away. He's gone on to do amazing things, but we don't often hear about those types of things. And he does come back to Hawaii every once in a while and he gives back to the community, but it's not like how we sort of celebrate other celebrities who are from Hawaii. So even if he went to high school here, I think he's more so considered a mainland celebrity. But then I think about someone like Neil Everett, who is a sports anchor for SportsCenter. And he used to be an anchor here in Hawaii. Didn't go to school here, didn't go to college here, just worked at a local TV station, and he was a sports anchor for a long time. And then eventually he went to go work for ESPN and SportsCenter. And I remember thinking whenever I used to see him on TV, because I think he works on the West Coast, so I'd see him kind of late at night on TV, and whenever there was something related to Hawaii, he would just do a little shaka or kind of just give a little shout out to Hawaii. And it's very, very subtle and small. I don't know what it was, but as someone who grew up here, and when I saw someone just say something that really only a small portion of the population is even going to understand or catch, I don't know, it's just very special. I also don't want to downplay the accomplishments that many other people from Hawaii have been able to achieve that aren't necessarily in your Twitter feed or they're not in popular culture, because there are a lot of locals who have left Hawaii and have gone on to create amazing businesses or just discover wonderful things, and they probably don't get the credit that they deserve. Unfortunately, that's just how our society is. But we still have a lot to be proud of, and they should be proud as well. I also think what's kind of bittersweet about these local celebrities who go on to do great things is that oftentimes they leave. There aren't a lot of local celebrities who stay here, at least while they're active in their career. There's some, but not many. Most go on to California or other places and just go and do amazing things. And in that way, it is kind of sad, like a small town where you have to say goodbye. And maybe they will come back to visit every so often, but really for their career to blossom, Hawaii is just not really that place for them. And even if they never come back, we still cheer for them anyway, because they give us someone to stand by. I think it's a lot of pressure to have, but at the same time, being that sort of ambassador of an entire state who really supports you for who you are because of where you come from. And sure, the fact that they are famous and accomplishing great things in the moment is awesome. But that label, being from Hawaii, being a local, no one can take that away from them. And so even after the fame and all of that fades, they still have a place to go back to where people remember them. Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of people like myself who have not seen one episode of American Idol this season. All I catch is bits and pieces here. I haven't watched American Idol since I don't know when, way back, long time ago. But to me, it doesn't really matter. We still support and cheer on our locals because we love them. So thanks for watching, and aloha.